Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 25 years of India's independence, progress of Jammu and Kashmir. This is international seminar, collaboration Faculty of Social and Political Science, Universitas Muhammadiyah Jakarta, and Sahabat India Jakarta. Let's start our international seminar with saying Bismillah for Muslim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers, both in Jakarta and Indonesia, and also in India, New Delhi, welcome to the international seminar. Let me explain our rundown. My name is Asep Setiawan. I will be Master of Ceremony, also a moderator for this event. And we are going to have a national anthem, Indonesia, and then Mars Muhammadiyah, and then national anthem of India. And we will continue with the welcoming speech, and then we will have a discussion on international seminar, probably about 2 hours and more, with 3 speakers in India and 3 speakers in Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin with National Anthem of Indonesia. Please rise and stand up to observe, and followed by Mars Muhammadiyah and National Anthem of India. Silakan untuk berdiri tegap dan menghormati lagu nasional kedua negara. Silakan, Mas Daman.
Salam जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जगति तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know that our international seminar also broadcasts in YouTube Live, and we can follow in YouTube streaming and also broadcast and be seen, be watched through the Zoom link. I would like to welcome Mr. Paramala Anjaya, and also we are going to opening first, and then also Pak Yunanto. But before starting and beginning of our discussion, we would like to request Dean of Faculty of Social and Political Science, Universitas Muhammadiyah Jakarta, Dr. Epi Satrispi, MSc, and we will also welcoming speech from Director of Indonesian Global Studies, Faculty of Social Political Science, Universitas Muhammadiyah Jakarta, Debbie Avianti MA will be spoken on behalf also Dean. Please welcome Ibu Debbie Avianti for welcoming speech on behalf Dean and also Director of Indonesian Global Studies.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. So it is grateful for me for having you here to discuss about the progress of Jammu and Kashmir in line with the celebration of the 75 years of India independence. And we would like to welcome our respected speakers here. We have Pak Viramala and also Pak Sri Yunanto here offline in our auditorium. And also in online, we have several speakers. And we have here Lieutenant General Sokin Chauhan, former Director General of Assam Rifles, New Delhi. And then Mr. Utpal Kaul, International Coordinator of Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora, New Delhi. And Dr. Ahmad Kisai, lecturer at the Paramedina University, Jakarta, and Mr. Aswani Kumar, a well-known writer activist from Jammu and Kashmir, India. So we have two speakers offline here and several speakers online. So we would like also extend our gratitude to the Magister of Political Science, which is headed by Pak Asep, who is initiated this significant international seminar. It is highly and also timely important for us to discuss about the progress of Jammu and Kashmir, especially since the 2019 progress. And we would like also to broaden our horizons, so we welcome any inputs, insights, and also fruitful discussion during this international seminar. So we would like also active participations from the participants here as well as the participants online. So without overdue, let recite basmalah to initiate or to begin this international seminar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. On behalf of the Dean of the Faculty of Social and Political Science, I officially open this international seminar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Applause for Ms. Devi Apianti. Thank you very much again for opening speech. Now we are going to start of international seminar, and we would like to request Mr. Feramalah Anjaya and Pak Dr. Yunanto to have a sitting place in front of us, and then we are going also broadcast on YouTube and online. So let's have to be here, Pak Yunanto. Before we start, I would like to greet our distinguished speaker from India. I believe Mr. Utpal Kaul already on Zoom online. Would you mind, Pak Tio, to move one of the screen to be seen by us so we can follow our presentation very smooth? And also, I would like to have very happy here to be with you, and I believe some of students still coming in here, and we are very honored to be here with distinguished speaker. Let me first to introduce our seminar by reading some of note here. Ladies and gentlemen, the title of international seminar is 25 Years of India Independence, Progress of Jammu and Kashmir. With its 1.41 billion population and US 3.49 trillion gross domestic product, India is an emerging global power. It is the present chairman of G22, I believe, transfer from Indonesia last December, November. A group of world's largest 20 economics. India, the world's largest democracy, is the 5th largest economy and has the world's strongest military force. Ladies and gentlemen, in effort to quell the unrest created by Pakistan and Bush economic development, the Indian government decided to scrap Jammu and Kashmir special status under Article 370 and bring it under the direct control of New Delhi on August 5, 2019. With the new status, J&K has been moving in the right direction for the last more than 3 years. Civilian unrest and terrorist attacks have come down. For example, there were 127 terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir in 2022, a big decline from 417 terror attacks in 2018 and 229 attacks in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen and distinguished speaker, I would like to read that the aims of our seminar is to discuss the remarkable journey of Jammu and Kashmir since 1947 and expose lies about Kashmir, the true intention behind Kashmir solidarity and Pakistan's support for group in Kashmir, and present true facts about Jammu and Kashmir and its future. We would like to request the first speaker from New Delhi, Mr. Utpal Kaul. Let me, before start with Mr. Utpal Kaul, whether General Soikan is already in online, not yet. So we are going to first have Mr. Utpal Kaul. Let me introduce him. Distinguished speakers, Mr. Utpal Kaul, the International Coordinator for the Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora, is a scholar, writer, community activist, leader, and spokesperson of Kashmiri Pandit community. He has been an activist for more than 4 decades. He studied at the Kashmir University. During his university days, he was elected as president of the Kashmir University Student Union. He has participated in national and international debates and seminars on Kashmir. Mr. Utpal Kaul has led many protests to get justice for his community. He met various presidents, prime minister, and parliamentarians to apprise them on Kashmir situation. He has published more than 100 books on Kashmir, and he regularly participates in live television debates. Please welcome Mr. Utpal Kaul for next 20 minutes. Thank you very much. Would you mind to unmute the microphone, Mr. Utpal Kaul?
Very good afternoon.
Thank you very much.
From India, and best wishes and warm welcome from Jammu and Kashmir, from Kashmir. I am so thankful to this great university, Mountain University of Jakarta, who regularly organize
Sorry for a little bit distant voice. Please continue.
Who organize such meaningful debates on Jammu and Kashmir. I also am thankful to the esteemed faculty, your dean, and esteemed guests here. I may not name one by one, but as I know them, most of them now personally, it is, I think, 4th or 5th time I am speaking online in this university, but I am sure one day I will come and meet all of you physically in this great university.
Welcome. Welcome.
When I speak on progress of my state and now Union Territory, Jammu and Kashmir, I won't be speaking as a scholar of Kashmir University or scholar of history or economics or commerce, but I will speak as a simple Kashmiri who has seen for last 6 decades Kashmir. So first of all, I want to tell you that there is a dramatic change right from Maharaja's exit from Kashmir and democratic forces taking place in Kashmir. And now, when on 5th of August in 19, that scrap of Article 370 and 35A. People were not sure what is going to happen. So there was a lot of negative propaganda also. But now people of Kashmir, Jammu and Ladakh see now how the progress has gone so fast. And unfortunately, COVID struck whole of world, and Jammu and Kashmir was also part of that. It affected Kashmir, Jammu and rural and urban areas, but the best management of COVID was done in Jammu and Kashmir, and it was declared as the best management, COVID management state in India. Earlier, some people were apprehensive for taking vaccine, but that has not, they also realized later on that they have to take the vaccine. So healthcare, if I take the one healthcare, how many hospital beds were increased, how much the two national level medical colleges, where we call it All India Institute of Medical Sciences, were come up in Jammu and Kashmir. I have to give you the comparison. In India, Jammu and Kashmir was the first state where the food subsidy was allowed or it was introduced. And so it will be a surprise for whole of the audience to know that my family till 70, 75 were getting food for only for $50. When in whole of India they had to buy food for $10, we were buying it for $50. That was the special status for Jammu and Kashmir. But this special status we must not do only for the food. We must have all type of progress, and that has shown in after abrogation of Article 370 how people around India, industrialists, businessmen come forward for investment. And for investment or for having industry, we first have the road connection and air connectivity. Now, Srinagar airport is an international airport. So we have direct flights up to Middle East. So there's a direct flight to Dubai, there's a direct flight to Qatar, there's a direct flight to Saudi Arabia. So there is a direct connection between different countries to Kashmir. It will enhance the tourism, it will enhance the activity of commerce. And then again, I can come to the roads. The first time we have national road, this time national highway, it was known as BC Road, Banihal Cart Road. So the Banihal Cart Road, what it was for the carts, and now it has moved so fast that our road transport minister, Nitin Gadkari, recently said that my dream is that from New Delhi to Srinagar, it must take only 9 hours. It is nearly 1,000 kilometers from Srinagar to Delhi. So it should take only 8 to 9 hours to reach to Srinagar. So the fast connectivity of whole of nation and to Kashmir. Kashmir has a production of, we are proud of our horticulture. So we have apples, and I may tell you, Kashmiri apple was the world's best apple in whole of Central Asia and Russia. Apple is known as Sebe Kashmir. So we had different varieties of apples, but we must, because of the apples harvesting is in the month of September, and from October onwards, there is a snow in Kashmir. So the roads are closed. So for this, we needed fast roads, good roads, and good transport. And with the railways, with the new railways coming from Jammu to Srinagar, with the highest bridge at Ramband and Riyasi, which is the world's highest bridge connection between Jammu and Kashmir and rest of the world, the commercial activity of horticulture, apples, the pears, the cherry, walnuts, almonds, they can go fast to different parts of India and world. Then we have saffron. This year, last year, it was 15 metric tons of saffron production. So all this needed to be get further boosting. Now, if we say about the roads again, it is 641 kilometers per day. That means it is not only the national highway, it is not only the state highway, but roads are going to the districts, to the tehsils and to the villages. So there can be a direct from national highway to the villages, all metal roads. And then we have a direct Zojila tunnel now. So road, we had 2 days, it would take 2 days from Srinagar to Leh. Now it will take only 1 day. So this is the road connectivity. This is how we have to make this road connectivity will take our horticulture outside immediately. But one more important thing, Kashmir is famous for the shawls, for pashmina shawls, for wools, for wool carpets, for silken carpets. So we need transportation fast for that also. If Queen of England would give present to Queen of France, it was shawl. So in Encyclopedia Britannica and Encyclopedia Amerigo, Kashmir's other name was shawl. And shawl and saffron, these were very, very famous from ancient times to present day about Kashmir. Kashmir this year, I can say 2022 was a great time for tourism. There were hardly any rooms available during the summer months. People were living not in the hotels then because all hotel rooms were booked. They were living in residential houses. Earlier, our tourism was only during the summers, but recently government developed with a lot of subsidies to the hotel industry, to the restaurant industry, so that the new hotels emerged in the most important and beautiful locations of Gulmarg, Pahalgam, Sonmarg, Yusmarg, Dodpatri, and other places, so that the people would get lot of good accommodation. And it was not only in Kashmir, but same thing was applied in Jammu also. And this year you all will be happy that it was nearly 13 million tourists visited Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, 13 million people. And in fact, we have capacity of more than 330 million. And I am sure that time will come when this target will be completed, that 30 million tourists will visit Jammu and Kashmir and have good time in Jammu and Kashmir. One thing I have to add here, that the Kashmir for last 30 years had some negative impact because of some violence and some terrorism activities. And Kashmir was more famous for terrorism and for stone pelting than for beautiful places like Dal Lake and Waller Lake and Manasbal Lake. And so it is surprising what happened all these 3 or 4 years. There is no stone pelting now. Everybody is living peacefully. Although we have yet to go for election, but it is surprising that people are happy with the Union Territory government, because with the Union Territory, every family in Jammu and Kashmir got 5 lakhs as insurance for health insurance. So this 5 lakhs of rupees of health insurance for every family. And with the Union Territory, Jammu and Kashmir, every government employee or state employee who number more than 200,000, they got 5 to 10% increase in salaries. So it was not only the hospitals. 3 universities came up in these years, modern schools, and nearly 50,000 more students got scholarship to study in different parts of India, in Indian professional colleges, engineering colleges, medical colleges, and some students are studying now in different parts of the world, in US, in UK, in Australia, even in Bangladesh and other places. So they also get some kind of help from the government so that they can study and do well for the community. We have, as I earlier mentioned, that Kashmir is famous for handicrafts. So we again have to do something more in modern, because everything was happening. Kashmiris have golden hands. So if our Kashmiri will do the needlework on shawls or on paper mache, it is like painting. They don't understand that it is a needlework. So now the international exhibitions were organized in different parts of India and abroad to market the Indian handicrafts, but particularly Kashmiri shawls, Pashmina shawls, carpets, paper mache, and woodwork. Kashmiris are also very famous. We have walnut wood, and we do some kind of different kind of designs and even furniture from walnut wood. And so this is slowly progressing, but government of India is putting lot of money, the different sectors. Last year, 20,000 crores. 20,000 crores is equivalent to anything between $3 to $4 billion for investment in different sectors to make it sure that progress, and this progress reaches to every part of society, whether in the hotel industry or handicraft industry or horticulture or in different fields. But at the same time, there were exhibitions were organized in India and outside India to increase the tourism traffic for Jammu and Kashmir. So what I mean to say that there are progress, and first of all, the greatest achievement after 2019 is the peace. And when there is peace, there is prosperity, there is progress. And if I quote that, I have put the 8 points here: the food, availability of food, and free food. Free food was available to the lower straw of our society who could not pay. And for 3 years, this because of the COVID, food will be given free. Then the great achievement in roads, great achievement in electricity. Now Jammu and Kashmir produces 3,450 megawatt electricity. And in 1947, it was just 3 to 5 megawatt. And nearly 1,000 megawatt increased in these 4-5 years. Then the increase of schools, increase of hospitals, development and progress with the modern technology of horticulture, and about the handicrafts, about the tourism. And now most important, where government of India is now thinking of putting nearly 32,000 crore rupees. It will be, other than what has already been done for Kashmir, is for industry. There are two kinds of industries. Heavy industry will be in the Jammu region, but government of India is thinking of making IT industry in Kashmir, because earlier it was Bangalore, it was Hyderabad. I am sure after some time, when full peace and progress will come to Kashmir, there will be a big, huge IT industry in Kashmir, because Kashmiris are basically very, very brilliant people. They are hard-working people. They are intelligent people, and Jammu and Kashmir will get lot of attention with this IT, and we will make India great country. We will make India to have great progress through our intelligence, through our hard work, because of when this industry will come. But I am sure Indian industrialists and the foreign investment will come where in Jammu sector, where there is a lot of potential for heavy industry. And so I, as a Kashmiri, and Indian, I see with my own naked eyes how this slow progress from 1975 has got fast generation. It got catalytic agent after abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, that Kashmir will be, as it is on our map, it is on the top of India. It is the crown of India, and it will be crown of India in peace, progress, and prosperity. Thank you very much. I am open to all questions when will be asked. Thank you very much. Best wishes from India. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Utpal Kaul, who has explaining beautifully about Kashmir, I guess, and explaining how agriculture, one of the best in the world, produce apples, for example, and also industry, handcraft, like carpets. So it seems to me that explaining that Kashmir is very important in from view of the Indian scholars, Indian government, and Indian figures. In this occasion, I would like also to greet Pak Joni here. We already Vice Dean. Pak Joni is here, Joni Gunanto. And I want to stressing that this event organized also support by political science, postgraduate and undergraduate, also direct Indonesian and Global Studies Laboratory. Let's continue our international seminar with the next speaker from Kasman Singo di Menjuhol here in Indonesia. So Mr. Utpal Kaul, the next speaker is Bapak Dr. Sri Yunanto is already here. So the audience here and the Zoom and YouTube, I would like to introduce briefly about our colleague, Dr. Sri Yunanto. Would you mind, Mr. Daman, to open the short CV of Sri Yunanto? Dr. Sri Yunanto is presently working as an associate professor at the Graduate School of Political Science of University of Muhammadiyah Jakarta, soon to be professor, hopefully. Amin. He has been a member of Presidential Advisory Board's expert team since 2019. He has been the executive director of the Institute of Politics and Security Study, IPSS, since 2011, who has been collaborated with political science program here, ya, postgraduate Pak. Sri Yunanto is a PhD holder in comparative politics from the University Science Malaysia. He obtained his master degree from University of Indonesia in 2005, and he is a prolific writer, researcher, and respected scholar. So welcome, Pak Sri Yunanto, for around 20 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ceremony.
Mr. Moderator also.
Yeah.
Moderator
oh,
also.
Mr. Moderator as well. Yeah. So I just forget that you have double, double degree or not double degree, double rank, yeah, double profession, our double responsibility in this important event. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Again, distinguished Master Ceremony as well as moderator, the bosses of the faculties, Pak Joni, Pak Nurjaman, Bu Debi, and bosses of also the boss of the Laboratory of International Government and Strategic Studies, yeah, and also distinguished speakers, Mr. Utpal, and we are waiting for the presence of General Chokin, also Pak Wis, our friend from Paramadina, Pak Ahmad Kisai, also my good friend Pak Vermala. We have been here for 3 times, right? I have been speaking on the Kashmir, but I've never been there. So I hope that someday, because you know, the first presentation of Kashmir is just really, really amazing and interesting because of the beauty of the nature, the rich fullness of you know, natural resources, agriculture, industry, etc., and also the improving situation in Kashmir. So I'm happy to hear that, and of course, while previous speaker already spoken on economic and agriculture side, tourism, etc. No, I'm trying to contribute my thoughts on the issue of 75 years independent, India's independent, and also progress of Jammu and Kashmir, but from the perspective of politics and security for sure. And of course, the first thing I would like to say is to congratulate India for 75 independent. So I'm preparing slides also for this presentation. And in the beginning, go ahead, slide, lanjut Mas. Yeah. I would try to see, not to compare basically, but I believe, and from the history, that we share the same destiny between India and Indonesia. Yeah, we have a good friend since the birth of our country, the independence of our country. We share the same experience of colonialization. Formerly, we are colonized by British also, but then transferred to the Dutch, and until our independence. Yeah, and India colonialized by the British, right? And then both of us, India for sure, as the model says, is a big economic countries with one of the biggest economic country, and we are approaching to that position too. And we are predicted, Indonesia is also predicted to reach the position of the seven biggest economic country in the world. I think it's predicted to be in 2035, and also we are also democratic countries, so we believe and we have adopted our democratic system since our independence. And then India is considered also one of the strongest military force. I think you are still, I have no idea, you are still competing with China too, I think, yeah? in terms of economy and also military. Yeah? So we are in that position too. Yeah? We are in the middle between the two competing powers, yeah? Like in the story of South China Sea. Next. And then I hear present that we are pioneers. We are also pioneers the Asia-Africa Conference. Yeah, 7 countries, some other countries as the pioneers like Indonesia, including India, Indonesia, Pakistan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka. We initiated the Asia-Africa Conference, which was held in Bandung. Yeah, and then because at the time we also experienced similar destiny as the post-colonial state. Yeah, and in the conference we see the record from history that the conference participated by 29 countries. Yeah, as I already stated in my slide. Yeah. And we remember that at the time, the mission of the Asia-Africa Conference was to stop economic exploitation and free the people in the newly independent state from the colonialism. So I think India and Indonesia have very long similar destiny and experience in politics, as well as, I think if we trace back, we have also, cultural, religious connection. I just whisper, Mr. Parmala, that we have the same, meaning, Jaya, Jaya, Jaya Mahi, Our Navy motto here is Jaya Mahe. Yeah, which means it's like Hinduism, origin, Jalas Veva Jaya Mahe. Yeah. And even I don't know what the meaning. This is, in the sea we are great. It's similar like that. Yeah, which means that talking about India and Indonesia have similarity in politics, culture, and also economic prospect, and also future relation. And I think in politics, I think this is just remember what the objective of the Asia-Africa Conference, like promoting peace in the world, strengthening solidarity and partnership among ASEAN and African countries, and then struggling to improve ASEAN and African countries' destiny. Yeah, of course, we are, I think, members of the Asia and African countries are poor countries, underdeveloped countries, and I think now majority, if not some, are progressing to the developing, and some are considered to be to the developed countries. Indonesia, IMF, in front of us, my student of international economic and politics, Indonesia is no longer considered as developing country. We are considered as developed country. So it's an amazing story, basically. But poor people are still everywhere. Yeah. And then because of, I stated that because of the Southeast Asia and Africa Conference, we are also engineers, or we engineer the establishment of non-alignment movement at the time. So the name is still there, but we still can question about the effectiveness of the non-alignment movement. Yeah. And then Indonesia, India, and like other newly independent countries also experienced the story of self-determination. Yeah. That's why, and in this occasion, I would like to see the Kashmir issue from the perspective of the independence of our nation too. So later I will try to compare between the Kashmir issue with the Free Aceh movement issue, because in terms of population we share similar picture, in that we put Kashmir and Aceh holds majority Muslims. That's why I try to approach the issue from its comparison to Aceh movement. We experience self-determination movement, and this is normal political phenomena in newly independent state, like India, Indonesia, and some other places. And India, we see from the history that one of the phenomena is the separation between India and Pakistan, and then also and politically it's done. I mean, both claim that it's as a sovereign countries, but of course the conflicts remain in the issue, the tension or the controversy remain in the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. Protracted conflict despite official alignment of official integration to India in the time of Maharaja Hari Singh. Yeah. And in Indonesia, we experience several also independence movement. Like the first is what is already known, the Darul Islam or the Islamic State movement. And then we experience also PRRI, Pemerintah Revolusi Republik Indonesia, or the Revolutionary Government of the Republic of Indonesia. And then this is in 1950, and of course at the time as the newly government, the movement opposed the legitimate government and protested on the issue of economic and disparity between Java and non-Java development. And then in East Indonesia, we experienced Persmesta, 1957. The root cause is almost the same. I mean, the movement disappointed with the central government, which also favor Java. So I think the main mission, or the main idea that we underline is that injustice issue is important in the issue of separatism. I think later we can talk about the other issue, yeah. And then until today we still have to deal with the Free Papua movement, organisasi Papua Merdeka. We still experience another security tension too. And then I think we have the same story on Timor-Leste, when with the referendum, and then we let I would not say we are happy, right? We are happy, but we let East Timor to establish their own government or their own state, yeah. And then I will just highlight about Jammu Kashmir conflict. So I will tell the use of conflict, despite Mr. Utpal's explanation on the improving situation with the physical, the development of physical infrastructure, yeah. And then we recognize also that Jammu and Kashmir has also multi-religious society, like Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, and Christian, with majority Muslim also. And then obviously leaders, already I already explained, that Maharaja Hari Singhs, the leaders of political leaders of Kashmir at that time, joined India in 1947, despite majority Muslim population. So it is quite a decisive political decision at the time. And then Jammu Kashmir wasn't politically the relationship between India and Pakistan when the two countries entangles in protracted war 3 times recorded, two times of them on the issue of Kashmir. So this was very serious. I think this is the difference between the independent issue in Indonesia and India, because when we talk about Kashmir, this involves third country, that is Pakistan. But in Indonesia, it's only structural conflict between the central government and the conflicting region. Yeah, and then following the war, also another freedom movement groups in Jammu and Kashmir, which try to rebel against the central government of India. And then it's followed by numbers of terror attacks, hundreds and hundreds, like what we experienced also in Indonesia. And of course, because of this, thousands of people lost their life, yeah. And yeah, so I would like to highlight the Aceh self-determination, and we have to I would say from history we record that there are two different movements in Aceh. The first is called Darul Islam movement, which is motivated by also religion, both its symbol and also aspiration or mission, yeah. And this movement also happened together with other movement in other regions, like Central Java, West Java, called Kartusuryo, the leaders Kartusuryo, and then Aceh, and then Makassar, and also Kalimantan. The primary root causes of the conflict is that also disappointment with the central government. So disappointment, political disappointment, is very central issue in the story, in the history of the self-determination movement. And then at the time, Aceh was also disappointed because this region was integrated to North Sumatra province. So they are not happy with this, yeah. And then right after it can be handled with political negotiation until 1977, the movement and then convert to what is called now Free Aceh movement, Gerakan Aceh Merdeka. And The root cause is almost different. Of course, with different perception on the Islamic law because it's about one of aspiration, and the disappointment also with unjust distribution of Aceh natural resources. Because at the time, I think this is also important to underline because our government at that time, that was New Order government, was very, very centralistic in that way. That's why all the natural resources was controlled by central government. And then the regional people feel that they are exploited by the central government. And then also the issue of Javanization of Aceh, which means that Acehni people do not like the increasing numbers of Japanese in that region. Yeah? But as I told you that the conflict, Aceh conflicts did not involve other external countries. So it was much easily, solved rather than this involving, because in the context of Kashmir, you have two dimensions of conflict. The first is intrastate conflict and interstate conflict. So India was in conflict with Pakistan also, and also intra with the secessionist movement inside the Kashmir itself. Yeah? This is India's way to solve Jammu and Kashmir conflict. I would say this is India's way. Yeah? And then this is politically in 2019 scrap JICA's special status under article. Yeah. And then I think I like this policy. Where India withdrew, 10,000 of troops from the Jammu Kashmir. I think, yeah, I have been long studied the peace and conflict resolution, and non-security approach is better for the conflict resolution rather than security or military approach. That's why withdrawing 10,000 Indian troops was very significant in 2022. Yeah, and international community also appreciate this Indian position, Indian decision. Yeah, and as a ways to promote peace in Jammu and Kashmir. And then allocated, I think Mr. Utpal has elaborated how much money, more and money allocated for the development in Kashmir, and that is also good, yeah. Which open more education, vocational institution, created more project, which open opportunity for people, for job opportunity also. But of course, this also result in the decreasing unrest and terrorist attack. Despite there are still, yeah, but the numbers is slightly decreased, yeah, very significantly, yeah. And from the example here, from 417 in 2018 attacks, and then to 2029 in 2021, almost half, and then decrease another 127 in 2022. So it decreases almost two-thirds, 2/3% from 1919. So that's of course a good, we are members of ASEAN, and we don't have the right to interferes our sovereignty. But if this is the real picture, I think that's a better, better phenomena for Kashmir. Yeah. We have also our way to solve conflict in Aceh, Okay, the military operation and negotiation already start in 1961. Yeah, and then we designated NET as the Nangro Aceh Darussalam with the special status. This is the difference. Well, India stopped the special status, we give a special status until today. Yeah, and then we also promote the development in Nangro Aceh for the welfare of Aceh. Yeah, and then I think we don't forget with the big disaster in 2004 and big tsunami and also earthquake, which I don't know, motivated or maybe force the two parties to go into, it's like, humanitarian force, to force the two parties to go into dialogues and peace agreement, yeah. And then in 2005, and then those two parties reached into peace agreement, yeah. And then the core principle of the agreement is that first, the central government granted Aceh or give Aceh the special status, yeah, special status province, atau province with or province with special status or special function, and almost every area, yeah, like to manage its own government function. So he has all the government authority except 6 functions: security, law enforcement, military, foreign affairs, and then religious affairs. This still belong to the central government. But others are freely delegated or given to the special status autonomy, like in other parts, also in Papua. Yeah? And then establish local political parties. So we have local political parties in Aceh. We call it Partai Aceh and Partai Rakyat Aceh. And also, in fact, in Papua, within the law on the regional provincial autonomy, the Papuan people also has the authority to establish local party. So, and in Aceh, the local party has become big parties among other national party. And then respect with cultural distinctiveness in terms of the implementation of Sharia law, which is, in Aceh called as a kanun. Yeah? Kanun. And then has the authority to initiate agreement also with foreign government, except an area which is already managed or regulated in the central government. And then, of course, with the special status, like what happened to Kashmir, Aceh and also Papua enjoyed significant numbers of funds, yeah, hundreds of trillion rupiah for the autonomous fund, which is used to promote or to improve the prosperity of Aceh people. So let's just come to the last slide of my presentation, is the conclusion. My proposal is, of course, for my own countries in Aceh and other still, with the tension, areas with the high tension, and also maybe can be benefit in the issue of improving the peace situation in Kashmir. The first is that prosperity approach takes precedence of a security approach. So just continue. I would agree with continue, improve the prosperity approach. Give more money, or motivate the Kashmiri people to make their own money, by investment. More money, more investment, more prosperity. That's better. Respect cultural right. This is, I think, as an academician, this is a question for us. How, as the part of the India, Kashmir, how Indian government respect the issue of culture? For example, in the issue of Islamic implementation Sharia law, how the Islamic values is adopted within the local government state. Because cultural do matter, even in the context Indonesia. Culture does matter in the context of Aceh and also Papua. Respect political right. Yeah, I can understand the different policy. Well, in Indonesia we promote, we support, we just revise the law on special autonomy on Papua in 2021, and I think it is also under review, the law on Papua on the special autonomy in Aceh. But if we see from the news and also from the explanation that the Indian government just stopped the special autonomy. So I think that need to be to be discussed further. Just distribution of natural resources between special autonomy province and central government, refraining from exploitation. In Papua and Aceh, the local government has has quite significant percentage of this distribution in natural resources, like 70% on forestry, certain percent for mining, etc., etc. Yeah, and then of course, good and clean governance. I think this is also another key, because in the case of Papua, sometimes the money transferred to the special autonomy just was it spent for, or if I say rob for corruptors, there is no one of the governors is being still in police custody for the corruption allegation. So I think this is some other, was it academic, you know, overview of or recommendation for to promote the permanent peace in anywhere in the world, I think, in particular in Indonesia and also hopefully also in Kashmir. Thank you very much and sorry for the inconvenience. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Applause
wabarakatuh.
for Dr. Sri Yunanto. Thank you very much again for the excellent presentation comparing two countries in solution of a regional conflict. And I would like to greet Mr. Aswani Kumar Chungo from Zoom meeting link. Welcome, Mr. Aswani, for being with us today. And of course, position is, location now is New Delhi. Also, I would like to greet Dr. Ahmad Kisai also, is already in Zoom link meeting. I would like to introduce first Mr. Aswani brief CV. Let's see the experience, the scholars and also figure of Mr. Aswani Kumar Chungo is a well-known writer who wrote numerous books on Kashmir, as well as a columnist in various newspapers and magazines. He studied at DAV Higher Secondary School in Srinagar, and he studied at Islamic College of Science and Commerce. He is also an activist as well as politician from Jammu and Kashmir, India. I believe your position in New Delhi or in Jammu, New Delhi, right? So welcome, Mr. Aswani, for next 20 minutes presentation. Would you mind to unmute the microphone, please?
Yes. Is it? Am I audible?
Yeah, thank you.
I believe I am audible now.
Yes,
sir.
sure.
Yes, sir.
Nakar Om Swastiastu. I am speaking at this time, at this point of time, from Mumbai, India. I am highly thankful to the university and the organizers for inviting me to this August gathering of intellectuals and activists who are thinking about India, who are thinking about Jammu and Kashmir in India. For me, the 75 years of India's independence and a review of it is basically a litmus test for all states who got independence over the last 100 years. Jammu and Kashmir's progress in context of India's independence of 75 years, in my opinion, is a lesson for all those who think in terms of giving political powers, economic powers, and the social powers to the communities, to the societies, to the different strata of people, wherever they are living after achieving independence. And India is a path maker, basically, not only a path breaker, but also a path maker in context of the progress that we have made in Jammu and Kashmir for the last 75 years is for everyone to know, is for everyone to emulate. I would first of all talk in terms of the political sense. It is the government of India that decided 75 years ago that all political powers should be given to the people of Jammu and Kashmir state at the grassroots level. I am very happy to announce, rather I am very happy to share with you that the political powers have been given to the people of Jammu and Kashmir state by the government of India through acts of parliament and acts of legislation. And institutions like Panchayat, institutions like district development councils, and institutions like block development councils have been created, in which thousands of activists have been involved in direct political negotiations and indirect political responsibilities of the state. So that is a very large scheme of granting political rights to the people at the grassroots level. Generally, it can happen only there where democracies are vibrant, where democracies have been successfully managed, and there is a foolproof system to put the democracy on the track at every level of the democratic process. Then there are indeed the political powers that are being given at the level of the state and also at the level of the parliament. This has been a wonderful success story of Jammu and Kashmir in context of India's independence and 75 years of those independence. Rightly, it has been called by the government of India as the Amrit call. We term it as the process of getting nectar from a struggle of 75 years. And it is true in terms of Jammu and Kashmir state. I do not claim that everything regarding Jammu and Kashmir has been successful. There may be unsuccessful stories as well. There is no doubt in that. I will come to that also. But the successful story, the most important successful story is the devolution of political powers at the grassroots level to the people in general, without any caste, religion, sex, or region. There is no claim of anyone higher or lower than the rights those are given to the people in general. So it is the best story that can be produced before the people as a part of my presentation in context of the 75 years of India's independence. This is the fundamental difference between that part of Jammu and Kashmir state which has been illegally occupied by Pakistan in 1947-48 and those areas of Jammu and Kashmir state which are with India and where Constitution of India is implemented lock, stock and barrel. The other successful story in context of Jammu and Kashmir state is the devolution of power at a social level. What is that? And when I say social level, what that means? It means that in Jammu and Kashmir state, no caste or casteism is being implemented at the government level or the social level, and it has no official recognition. Everybody in the eyes of law is equal. It is an egalitarian society in Jammu and Kashmir state, where everybody is enjoying all kinds of rights. Here, human rights are actually for all. As we say, all human rights for all. Jammu and Kashmir state is one of those states where this has been implemented by the government of India and by the institutions of democracy over the last 75 years. Yes, there has been aberration. I will talk to that. I will talk to that in detail in a different context. But at this point of time, the other successful story is that economic power has also been given to the people. You note, rather you will be happy to note that there is not even a single family in Jammu and state that has not a roof on its head over the 70 years. That is another story of success in Jammu and Kashmir state. The government of India has implemented all its schemes and policies in respect of giving economic power to the Jammu and Kashmir people, and lakhs and lakhs of people, hundreds and thousands of people have been benefited by those policies at a grassroots level, where people are having their own houses, people are having roof on their head, and the land has been given to the people who were divested of the land. There have been progressive laws, those were implemented over the last 75 years which made it possible for those who had no land to get the land from those who had. So it is also one of the success stories of these 75 years so far as the progress of Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. And one more thing, which is very important to note, is that Jammu and Kashmir state has a population of 1 crore and 25 lakhs of people. Out of 1 crore and 25 lakh of people, I say that there are 5 lakh government employees who are getting either the pension or the salary from the government of India or state of Jammu and Kashmir offices. So it is also one of the welfare measures that the government of India has created, that the state of the Jammu and Kashmir has created for its people. And let me tell you, in Jammu and Kashmir state, there is hardly a family who has not its own house. Virtually every family has its own house. And then there is another story, and that is, in my opinion, part of an unsuccessful story, unsuccessful endeavor in Jammu and Kashmir state. That is the story of Kashmiri Pandits, who are the indigenous people of Kashmir Valley, who were hounded out due to terrorism supported and abetted by Pakistan and fundamentalist forces in Jammu and Kashmir state. Unfortunately, over the last four decades, they are living as refugees in their own country, in various towns and cities of India. That is definitely an unsuccessful story of the progress of Jammu and Kashmir when we view it from the 75 years of India's independence. Otherwise, all those people who are living in Jammu and Kashmir state have been enriched by the devolution of political powers, by the devolution of social powers, by the devolution of economic powers, and by the devolution of social powers that have been granted to them over the last 75 years by the government of India and by the state government of Jammu and Kashmir state. One more important issue is regarding tourism. What has been conceived by the government of India and the state government is that terrorism should be provided alternative through tourism. In that case also, some large steps, strides have been taken by the government of India, and they have been successful also. Through terrorism, a lot has been done in Jammu and Kashmir state, which led people to death and destruction over the last almost 40 years. That story is being now revived, but government of India has not been successful in this particular context, that all those people who were hounded out in 1989, 1990 from Kashmir, the Kashmiri Pandits, they have not yet been resettled in Kashmir. And I do not think, unless Pakistan reviews its policy of terrorism, reviews policy of interference in Jammu and Kashmir state, that dream can be achieved. Pakistan is completely involved in terrorism, has been proved, and government of India has been successful in showcasing to the world how Pakistan has damaged the interests of people of Jammu and Kashmir state by sending terrorism, guns, money, and terrorists to Jammu and Kashmir state to damage its socio-economic and political culture. But however, people of Jammu and Kashmir have not supported Pakistan in this context, and they have rather stood like a rock against this terrorism. And we believe that time will come when terrorism will get defeated, not only in Jammu and Kashmir state, but in whole of the world, and people will live peacefully, and they will coexist with each other, with their cultures, with their traditions, with their religions intact. And I believe this social cohesion will give a new phase to this 75 years of Indian independence. in context of progress of Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you very much.
Applause for Mr. Ashwani Kumar Churnango. Thank you very much again, Mr. Ashwani, for presentation. And as you say, this is the best examples of solution from view of India to Jammu and Kashmir. Even though there is also many attempts to restore peace and progress in Jammu and Kashmir. As we have seen, there are two speakers from Zoom online. So I just want to add that our international streamer has streaming in YouTube, even though the viewer must be not many at the moment. But in Zoom we have only 24 maximum, and then 30 peoples here in hall, so around 50 following our international seminar. I would like to check Mr. Ahmad Kisai, whether you are prepared for presentation now. So we are still waiting General Sokin. I believe.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ahmad
share.
Kisai. Continue to Ahmad Kisai first. Let me read your CP briefly, Dr. Ahmad. He was born in Blitar, East Java, Indonesia. He holds PhD in political science from Aligarh Muslim University, India, and his academic interests are on civil society and democracy, Islam and identity politics, international relations, Indian politics and economy, sustainable development and governance. Apart from being an assistant professor in Paramadina Graduate School of Diplomacy in Universitas Paramadina, he worked as a program director until May 2021 at an Indonesian non-government organization, the Partnership for Government Reform. He was responsible to oversee and manage programs related to security and justice issues, anti-corruption and integrity, asset recovery, post-conflict rebuilding process, political party reform, civil society and democracy consolidation, community empowerment, and SDGs. His latest publication is on sustainable development goals and challenges of policy reform on asset recovery in Indonesia, Indonesian Journal of International Law. Please correct me if you have something to add. Dr. Ahmad Kisai, welcome for next 20 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Kang Asep. Good to see you again. Good to see everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore semuanya. It's good to see you again. It's unfortunate that I'm not able to join you offline. It's been having Zoom seminars with you, I think a couple of times. Unfortunately, this time around, still I could make it to have the offline one. Well, it's a great opportunity to be with you, Kang Asep and others. Unfortunately, it's not the time at this point of time. But okay, I know I've just joined the discussion late in this process. When I found out that a couple of speakers already discussed a lot of things related to conflicts, related to the development, related to issues related to the Jammu and Kashmir and how Indian government has been responding to this one, and then the challenges that's been posed or has been very much there. We can see with our own eyes or through research or through reports. I think I don't really have much to add on those points, but looking at the TORs given to me or the concept notes, I would I'll focus my discussions on the present situation in Kashmir. Yes, I have to say that I've been in India for quite a while, but then for the past years, I've not been able to be there and see myself of things that's going on there. So what I will be presenting are facts or findings from reports from research. So because as an academician, you just say what it is, what you found, or what you find, and you cannot just make lies on those things. So I think I just need to be clear on those things. I'll start with the facts that when we want to know about the situation or development or the condition of a state, society or state or a country, then we can always use a political economic analysis approach where we can see how agents, structures, as well as institutions actually interact, actually intertwine, and also influence towards each other. What happened in Kashmir for the past, years, from 48 until 2023, it's all about how the agents, the individuals, the organizations who have interest in Kashmir and Jammu are actually proposing what they think is the best options. Especially, and secondly, we can also see how the historical formation of, say, India and Pakistan, for example, from British India, and also how and why the situation in Jammu and Kashmir is what it is right now. I think this has been explained earlier by speakers. I will not touch upon those things, but then talking about that structural features, the natural resources it has, the human resources it has, the demographic regional influence, as well as globalization, it affects the way situation in Jammu and Kashmir as it is right now. And last point, institution, how actually the rules that governs the behavior of the agents actually affecting the situation. We understand what is in Pakistan, for example, and what is what in India. So two totally different countries when you look at from perspective of democratic principles. When we look at the data, then we see that Pakistan and India is totally at the opposite. One is a democracy, which all of its say lacking, but also it has also positive aspects to consider. What's going on in India is explained earlier on how the power, devolution of power from center to the lowest level of the people. And this is very, very interesting. And with that, I think what is going on in Kashmir in the past, say, 3 years, for example, because the total change that actually occurred in Kashmir is post-abrogation or removal of Article 370 in Indian Constitution. It paved actually the way for India and Kashmir actually to be a unified kind of entity where the mechanism, the treatment, or the way India is functioning is totally under its, it's federal, but it's a unitary kind of a state where authority of central government is so much that it directs the way the states in India is actually functioning. The change from the autonomous kind of position that Kashmir and Jammu and Kashmir had prior to 2019 and what it is now, it provides an interesting phenomenon. Example, but Aceh and Papua is totally different way of looking at, but then what is going on right now in Kashmir, in Jammu and Kashmir, is also something that we can consider of looking at in the future for if you do the comparative with Indonesia. The removal of the article, we can see, as mentioned earlier, a lot of progress, a lot of positive signs have been there. The decline of the terrorist attacks, the increased opportunities for Jammu and Kashmir's people to actually get the opportunity to be able to reap the benefits of development, for example. We see how the numbers of tourists are coming in the recent past. It is increasing so much that provides an opportunity for the economy of Kashmir to rebound, for example. These are the potentials that there's so much there. But then we also need to look at the facts or the findings. And if we look at, as a political scientist, if we look at the findings of the Freedom House in the 2002, especially on Indian Kashmir, then the situation is not as beautiful as what is being shared in media, for example. But also, this is also an opportunity to bring change with the approach that Indian government is currently doing. For example, from 2 points of political rights and civil liberties, the score is so much low that Indian Kashmir is not considered as a free entity, as a free or a democratic entity. On political rights, where it has elements of electoral process, elements about political pluralism and participation, about function of government. These are so low the number is it got only 7 out of 40, because most of those elements are having a very low score. For example, the current head, I just quote one example of this data. Was the current head of government or other chief national authority elected through free and fair election? The score is 0. Or for example, were the current national legislative representative elected through free and fair election? Score is 0. And for political pluralism, do the people have the right to organize in different political parties or other competitive political groupings of their choice? Score is 1 out of 4. So these are the situations that I think need a strong attention, serious attention from the Indian government. Secondly, on these civil liberties, talking about freedom of expression and belief, are there free and independent media? Score is 1 out of 4. Or is there academic freedom, and is the education system free from excessive political indoctrination? Score is 1 out of 4. On the associational and organization rights, is there freedom of assembly? The score is 0 out of 4. So I think these are key points that again, the data was taken in 2021. And it is presented in 2022. I believe there are changes in those time period in 2002. We need to look at what will be the outcome or the result of the Freedom House report in 2023. Whether this situation has been responded positively, improved, or something. This is something that we need to look at. But my point is, looking at the stories, looking at the development, looking at the opportunities, it is great. It is good. It is amazing in the way like the current government in India tries its best to really change the situation, change the condition of Kashmir and Jammu. The agents, the actors, they have all the interest to actually respond to the challenges and the structures that they have, the condition that they have. And I think with that, the challenges, I think, is very much of our interest for research, for policy improvement, as well as for other opportunities to make it better. For example, the biggest challenge that is currently, I think, still very much there is about the potential recession of terrorism. We understand that if we look at the root causes of terrorism or root causes of, say, separatist movement, elements of economy, for example, element of social well-being, elements of inclusion. These are the things that could become the factors. And there is no single factors. It's not only because of the ethnicity or because of the economy or because of the other political factors, but the intertwined kind of factors could affect a person or someone to really go beyond what is being considered to be something that everyone think of. So if and only if the points I mentioned earlier, as presented by Freedom House, is not responded by the government of India, then the potential of resurgence of terrorism would very much be there. I agree with the previous speaker who mentioned about the cultural approach is important, putting more human approach more important in settling things down, and having that one in the future to continue what is being started right now is, I think, is key for Indian government to actually look at the better future for Kashmir. And second one is I think about the challenge about the economy. Even though the government has already provided, provided the opportunity, provided the investment there so far, but the way that the situation has been running so far, that rely on central government's grant, for example, the minimum inflow of the FDI, for example. This is a challenge that should be responded positively. If and only if the government of India wanted to see Kashmir flourished, Kashmir and Jammu and Kashmir, be in a position of at par with other states in India. So I think those two challenges are very important to look at. And the last point that I would like to share here is about the importance of transparency, accountability, and access to public services. I think without those points, without transparency, participation, accountability, all this rosy development that's been said earlier, has been expressed, has been stated by the government. With many of the reports, decline of, say, for example, numbers of terrorists, decline or increased number of investment. It will not be useful. It will not be functional. It will not be beneficial for the Jammu and Kashmir if and only if transparency is not there, accountability is not there, and participation is there. I think these three principles is very important because with that, it will bring Kashmir into a more improved condition, away from terrorism, as well as it will catapult Jammu and Kashmir into a new era of development and stable peace. I think those are key points that I can share with you, Kang Asep, because of this limitation of time, and many of those information will be covered by the speaker. I hope these points are relevant with what we are discussing today, because looking forward, I want to see Jammu and Kashmir better. The way the Indian government has decided the change of approach is something that everyone is looking at. And having said that, the homework should be responded seriously. Without that, Jammu and Kashmir or Indian government will only see the failure in the future. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much indeed. Applause for Mr. Ahmad Gizai. And the presentation will be shared later, Mr. Ahmad. And we would like to welcome Lieutenant General retired Shokin Chauhan. He's already in Zoom application meeting. And this is the main speaker, I believe. And then after Lieutenant General Shokin Chauhan will be the last presentation from Mr. Veramala Anjaya. Let me share, and please allow me to read briefly for the CV. Lieutenant General retired Shokin Chauhan, PFSM. There's a lot of title. Medal. Was the chairman of the ceasefire monitoring group in August 2018. He was the Director General of Assam Rifles, India's oldest and largest paramilitary force. And he has held several key appointments during his long career in the army, has served at the apex level in Ministry of Defense and the Minister of Home Counterinsurgency, Counterterrorism, Border Guarding, and Human Resource Management. He also has vast experience in military diplomacy, since he was the defense attaché in the Indian Embassy in Nepal for 3.5 years, 2004 until 2007. And of course, he did his PhD in International Relations and Defense Studies from Punjab University, Chandigarh. So welcome, General Shokin, please, for next 20 minutes presentation.
Thank you. Once again, it's such a pleasure to be with you all. Can you listen, hear my voice?
Yes. Very clear.
Great pleasure being with you all.
Yes,
and,
yes.
I've
Your
always
voice is
enjoyed
perfectly
speaking.
clear.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes.
I've
Your
always
voice is
enjoyed speaking in Birmala's seminars. It gives me an opportunity to, give my point of view. And I'm certain that, whatever we speak today, there are three things I wish to sort of highlight before I go forward. Is that while we talk of a state of India, we must also keep in mind what it has gone through, what was the history of Kashmir or Jammu and Kashmir, and what we think should be the future of how it should go forward. As Veermala said, I've had almost 42 years of service in the armed forces, in the army. Almost 21 years, that means more than half my service in the army, has been spent in Jammu and Kashmir. Has been spent, I was first in Jammu and Kashmir in the year 1983, before the insurgency and then the terrorism came to Kashmir. And then subsequently came often enough, first to fight the JKLF, and then to fight the Hizbul Mujahideen, then to fight the Harkatul Ittihad Jihadi, the Huji, the Harkatul Jihad Ittihadi, and finally to fight the Lashkar-e-Toiba and a host of so many other terrorist groups that have dotted the area of Kashmir. And I speak to you with the honesty of a soldier who has lost a lot of people, a lot of my soldiers, fighting this very difficult insurgency and then the terrorism. So while I'm certain that, you will feel that I may not be, may not be a diplomat, or have been a military diplomat, but whatever I say is my version of what I feel is the truth. So let's see what Kashmir, what is the situation in Kashmir right now. It's winter there. I'm sure you all know that. 2022 has come to an end. And Kashmir is in what is known, has just finished the Chile Kalan, which means the 40-day long period when winter is at its harshest. That means when winter that is at its most difficult period. And with this, we also enter the 4th year since the abrogation of the contentious articles of 370 and 35A of the Indian Constitution that had given special status for the state of J&K. So it's the right time to take stock of the current situation and what I feel lies ahead. Just as I heard some of the speakers speak, here in India too, we have very serious differences in opinion with regard to the abrogation of Articles 370 and 35A. But unlike in the past, when all the parties, all the political parties, I feel, made hollow promises, there is near unanimity now, even amongst the people, because I have many young friends who are posted there, that the Union Territory administration has been serious about its outreach efforts, its development-oriented initiatives and countering the terror-linked threats. So what is the situation? More than 3 decades, actually. I remember when it started in 1989. So it's more than 30 years of insurgency in the beginning, and then militancy, and finally terrorism, has ruined Kashmir's vibrant social, cultural, and financial ecosystems. And all these systems take a long time to, come back. We are trying, the government of India is trying to rework priorities of development, initiating reforms in governance, curbing corruption, neutralizing a very well-fed terror ecosystem and the menace of drug addiction to help change the future of Kashmiri youth. So while much of what people talk about the abrogation being contentious, the ultimate point is that we have to bring about a change in Jammu and Kashmir. We have to reduce the terrorism. And unless the terrorism and militancy reduces, you can't change terrorism like this. You can't change the situation. You can't change the administrative situation. It takes time. Hoping that the J&K administration have been focused on overcoming governance bottlenecks. It's trying its best, but it's a very difficult task. It's difficult because you can't change the bureaucracy. You can't change the civil administration. You can't change the underlying issues that are involved in these transformations. You have to transform. You have to change. And there are you have to change these 5 pillars. One is humanitarian relief. There's no doubt that humans remain the paramount issue with people are concerned. The second is dealing with the crisis management, dealing with the disasters that have struck Kashmir, the floods that have struck Kashmir. It's likely that there can be, because it is in a seismic zone, there can be seismic problems. And a whole lot of other issues. There needs to be food, there needs to be water, they need a lot of issues. You have to change the social infrastructure, and you have to bring about an economic infrastructure expansion. So these 5 pillars have to be turned around so that the people's lives can be made better. And I spent a lot of time fighting this insurgency. I must tell you that when I started the issue about, like I said, when I first went to Kashmir, it was 1983. Kashmir was a peaceful place. It was a frontier province. It was a border province of Pakistan. But only the line of control was a problem. It wasn't a problem inside. Srinagar was a bustling city, and there were movie halls, there were people going to the market, and situations were so much more different than what you see today. And from that point onwards, when in 1989, when I went back again, and the Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front had started this curse of militancy, of course supplied by Pakistan, very, very, very heavily supplied by Pakistan. But the Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front consisted of militants who were of Kashmir but who had been trained in Pakistan. Then how did it change? From very quickly, within 3 to 4 years, you had the Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front, the JKLF, were quickly disarmed by the Hizbul Mujahideen. The Hizbul Mujahideen were more, much more radical in their approach, much more cruel, much more, they had been trained better and in much greater detail by Pakistan. Some of them were Pakistanis. And they started killing the JKLF people, taking their weapons away. And this created a larger problem for us because between the time of 1989, 1990, 1991, when this change had started happening and the JKLF was now losing its weapons, I remember raiding, almost recovering up to 1,000 weapons in a cave which had been supplied by Pakistan. So what I tell you is the truth about what actually happened there. By this time, of course, the genocide on the Kashmiri Pandits had taken place, and a large number of our Kashmiri Pandit Hindus had to leave Kashmir and go down to Jammu, and made them live lives of refugees. And what from that point, it became only worse. Foreign terrorists started entering, Afghans started entering, Sudanese started entering, and Kashmir became a battleground of a lot of different kind of terrorists. No country wanted this kind of a problem for themselves. No country, whether it is any country in the world, cannot allow foreign terrorists to come inside their area. We don't mind our own citizens telling us that they need change. For that, there is a democracy which changes. But when foreign terrorists start coming, when terrorism is instituted by a neighboring country and it is forced on a particular province of ours or a state of ours, then that has to be fought. And when you fight and when you use the Indian Army to fight, then obviously there will be some freedoms. There will be people who will not like, because Indian Army has only one weapon in its hands. It has the weapon of force by which you try and weed out these foreign terrorists, weed them out from the society that they seem to have got themselves into. Then on, I was there in 2006-7 or 2007, and 2008, I conducted the elections. There was a near unanimity of people who were voting for change there. I remember almost 70 to 75% of the people voted for change in the district of Shopian, Pulwama, Anantnag. Why I say this clearly is because I was the brigade commander in Shopian, Pulwama and Anantnag to my troops. And I know that the election at that time was held absolutely peacefully and without a problem. But once again, because this change was not palatable to Pakistan, this change started again. People again started pushing in more terrorists, again started creating more problems. And finally, it led to the point at which no national government could now accept it. And that's how the abrogation of 370 took place and 35 Alpha. Now, what is the situation today? I heard the previous speaker talk of human rights. I heard they also talk of problems amongst the people, amongst the population of Kashmir, vis-a-vis the population of Jammu. What happens is that in any democracy, no one is happy. But ultimately, when you are looking at trying to impose change, and change we have to get, whether we like it or not, we have to bring out change here. We have to bring in development. We have to change the infrastructure. We have to bring in hospitals. We have to bring in industries. People can't remain poor all their life. And when you try and change all this and you bring in industries and you have to improve the security index of the people you bring in. No industrialist is going to put an industry there without giving him the security that we will look after your industry till such time you set it up, until the people start accepting you. And to give them the security, you have to put troops in. But what I can tell you, and this is I'm telling you from my heart, is that the number of violent incidents inside Kashmir is at its lowest over the last 10 years. If we can root out this terrorism, if we can remove the scourge of terrorism from within our land, and then bring back the rest of the freedoms, wouldn't this be a better idea than allowing the terrorism to deal continuously? We have seen when Hezbollah in Palestine or the destruction of Lebanon has taken place, we've seen what happens to the people. We've seen how destroyed the infrastructure is. So when you judge India based on the fact that we have had to take some hard actions, please also remember that this was imposed on us by an insurgency and a terrorism that was started from a neighboring enemy country. If that terrorism, for whatever reason that Pakistan might have, for whatever reason they wanted, that they felt that they had been, that Kashmir was theirs and not India's. But still to bring in those terrorists, still to destroy everything that had been created in Kashmir, to kill the people there, to destroy their spirit. I have seen how desperate the people are there. And I know how different and desperate the women were, how vulnerable they felt when the foreign terrorists would come into their houses and rape them. I have seen the outlying villages being destroyed and killed completely by these foreign terrorists because they don't have a stake in Kashmir. Their only idea is to create mayhem. So ultimately, I don't intend to speak for too long, but ultimately, please remember that when you judge the situation in Kashmir, or you have to now benchmark it against the other trouble spots of the world where this kind of terrorism has happened. If you benchmark it against Iraq, if you benchmark it against Lebanon, if you benchmark it against Palestine, I would say the situation in Kashmir is 100 times better. The second issue is that we are committed to improving the situation. And like I said, the 5 pillars, changing its infrastructure, changing the social fabric, trying to weed out corruption, though I know corruption can never be weeded out, bringing in some kind of educational facilities for the children of Kashmir, and for trying to give them a secure future. I remember, and this is an incident in 2008 in Shopian. We had surrounded a house where we knew there was a foreign terrorist. And we never used to break the house till such time we were absolutely clear that all the people of that house were out. And suddenly one lady in a burqa came to me, and I'm talking of Shopian. And she said, please destroy this house. And she talked to me in English. And I was standing on one side. I was a brigadier leading that particular operation. And I said, why? Is that house yours? She says, yes, that house is mine. And that foreign terrorist there, who's there, has been raping me for the last 15 days. She said, there's nothing we could do. Please destroy this house. And this terrorist is hiding under the stairs. So finally, once we made sure that everybody was out, we placed explosives and we destroyed her house. And she was so happy because she didn't care about the house. To her, what mattered was that this foreign terrorist had been killed. So that was a state to the people. Later in Shopian itself, we built a stadium. It still stands in the center of Shopian, a cricket stadium. And to mark that particular time, I had a peace run. And in that peace run, there were more than 15,000 young Kashmiri children who ran in that peace run because they felt that a change was coming about there. And they ran for happiness, for their own freedom. So ultimately, I would request you all to understand that everybody first wants only one thing: freedom from fear. And once this freedom, and then the second thing is a future for their children. I have been, as you must have read out my biodata, I have been responsible for bringing about change in Nagaland. I was the chairman of the ceasefire monitoring group that brought in peace. I signed the ceasefire with all 4 and now 5 Naga insurgent groups. And the reason why Nagaland is improving today is because the ceasefire that I had got signed from them still holds. And today the people of Nagaland identify themselves with the future of India. Just as I feel that the people of Kashmir will identify themselves with the future of India. India, you all know, there's nothing to, there's no doubt about it, that we are improving economically. We are the 5th best economy in the world. Once freedom from fear improves, then everything else will improve. So that is the issue that I wish to say. I also say that yes, we have made mistakes. Wherever you bring force, wherever you use military power to reduce an insurgency or a terrorism, force is used. And when force is used, mistakes are made. But don't judge us on that. Judge us on what we feel the future might be if terrorism is removed from this part of the world. Thank you very much.
Tepuk tangan, applause for Lieutenant General Shokin. Thank you very much indeed. Lieutenant General Shokin Chauhan speaking from New Delhi. The last speaker is Mr. Veramala Anjaya. Let me to read the short CV. Veramala Anjaya is a senior journalist and has worked for the Jakarta Post from 1995 to 2020. He holds Master of Philosophy and PhD degree in Southeast Asia, ASEAN and Southwest Pacific Studies from School of International Study, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Master degree in History from University of Madras, India. Bachelor degree from Osmania University, Hyderabad, India. English, Economic History and Political Science as major subject. Welcome, Pak Veramala, please.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Pak Asep. Thank you very much for inviting me for the FISIP of University of Muhammadiyah Jakarta. Yeah, today I want to Today I want to talk about the remarkable progress of Jammu and Kashmir. My slide, please. Yeah. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. So India has now been independent for more than 75 years, because from 1947 to 2023, so now it is in next August it will be 76 years. So next slide, please. Yeah. So when India became independent, India's GDP was less than $30 billion, and with a population of only 340 million people, only 12% can read and write. So now, today, India's literacy rate is 77%, a remarkable achievement. And also, India is the world's largest democracy with 1.41 billion people. Then also with a $3.5 trillion GDP, India is the world's fifth largest economy. In next 2 or 3 years, India's GDP will reach 5 trillion. It will become the third largest economy in the world in the future. So the next slide, please. This year, as we know, India is holding the G20 presidency, which took over from Indonesia last year. So on January 13, 2023, the Reserve Bank of India announced India's forex reserves have reached $572 billion. The next slide, please. And according to the Global Firepower 2023 report, India is the fourth largest military force out of 145 countries in the world, after the US, Russia, and China. So India has the fourth strongest military force. Then next slide, please. We have Jammu and Kashmir was an independent princely state before 1947. The Indian Independence Act of 1947 dealt only with British India and not princely states, which had full freedom to decide their future. So that means they can either join India or Pakistan. So the Jammu and Kashmir was outside the province of the partition of two-nation theory. Pakistan, which came into existence only in August 1947, is in no way related to Jammu and Kashmir. Here is why, because the Pakistan always tell that Jammu and Kashmir has a Muslim population, so it must join Pakistan. But actually, those Muslim population, majority of the people under the leadership of the National Conference at the time, decided not to join to the military-dominated Pakistan, and also a religious country, which is Islamic Republic of Pakistan. So it was the Muslims who decided not to join Pakistan. So that is a very interesting thing. Then Pakistan does not have any legal, economic, and historic rights in Jammu and Kashmir. It invaded Jammu and Kashmir and committed a genocide against the Kashmiri people on October 22, 1947. On October 24, 1947, Pakistan established a puppet government in Azad Kashmir. Many people see it as a Pakistani colony because it is fully controlled by Pakistan in all aspects. It has the own president, prime minister, and legislative control. Legally, all political parties which are not loyal to Pakistan are not allowed to contest in the elections in Azad Kashmir. Another part of the Jammu and Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan, is also ruled directly by Pakistan, despite the fact that J&K has legally acceded to India in October 1947. Next slide, please. Pakistan's goal is to annex entire Jammu and Kashmir by any means. There were Indo-Pakistan wars in 1947, that went up to 1949, 1965, and 1999. The Indo-Pakistan war over Bangladesh followed in 1971. So Kashmir Solidarity Day is a national day held on February 5, that is on Sunday, so which is a holiday in Pakistan. On that day, Pakistan talks about self-determination, a plebiscite in Kashmir, and the UN resolutions. According to Pakistan, the KS Day is observed to show Pakistan's support to the people of Jammu and Kashmir and their efforts to secede from India and join Pakistan, as well as pay homage to the fighters, mostly terrorists, who have died in the conflict, because most of them are terrorists from the Pakistan. Next slide, please. The idea of KS Day, Kashmir Solidarity Day or Kashmir Day, came from an extremist leader called Khwaji Hussain Ahmad from the Jamaati Islam, which has close links with the terror group Lashkar-e-Toiba. In 1991, the then Prime Minister of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif, called for a Kashmir Solidarity Strike. In 2004, Pakistan government officially started observing KS Day every year. Pakistan spreads many lies on KS Day. It criticizes the United Nations and India for failing to hold a plebiscite in Jammu and Kashmir. Next slide, please. It was, but we must know that it was India that went to the UN, not Pakistan, with a expectation that the UN will ask Pakistan to withdraw its troops and tribesmen from Jammu and Kashmir. The UN Security Council issued two resolutions, resolution number 39 dated January 20, 1948, and resolution number 47 dated April 4, 1948. UNSC resolution 47 stipulated that Pakistan should withdraw its military forces and India should reduce its forces to the minimum and arrange for a plebiscite to be held, provide the people of Kashmir to choose of which state to join. Pakistan only talks about clause 3 of the UN Security Council resolution 47 about the plebiscite. However, it never mentions clause 2 of the UN resolution, withdrawal of troops from the parts of Pakistan had occupied through tribal invasion of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. For a UN-led plebiscite to take place, thus many people in Pakistan talk of the self-determination clause of the UN's resolution in isolation rather than its entirety. Pakistan wants to talk about UN resolutions when it is a violator of the most same resolutions. Since Pakistan never withdrew its troops, India and did not withdrew its troops. Hence, the UN failed to conduct a plebiscite and dropped the idea itself. Next slide, please. In the 1970s, debates within the UN General Assembly and Security Council established the principle the only colonized people had an explicit right to self-determination. The position of this position led supporters of India's position to point out that Kashmir is not a colony and therefore the agreements for Kashmiri self-determination do not apply because it is legally joined India in 1947. After losing all its wars over Kashmir, Pakistan launched a low-intensity conflict or proxy war in 1998. It sent terrorists to the Indian region of Kashmir to launch terror attacks and provided weapons, drugs, and money to Kashmir separatists to wage war against India. If the Indian government cracks down on terrorists and armed separatists to maintain security, Pakistan calls it a gross violation of human rights. All the terrorists in JK are based in Pakistan, trained in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and motivated by religious radicalism in global jihad rather than Kashmir nationalism. Most of them are at Kashmiris, but Punjabis and Pashtuns and Afghans and Arabs, while who do not speak Kashmir language, but they fight on behalf of the Kashmirs. It is a state-sponsored terrorism. Next slide, please. Pakistan has been using military means and diplomatic approaches, but intimately falling in both the directive and general of the police and Jammu and Kashmir announced recently that separatist forces have killed 186 terrorists, including 56 foreigners in Jammu and Kashmir in 2022. Most of the killed terrorists were members of the Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed terror groups, which are funded by Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence Spy Agency. In 2022, 29 civilians and 31 security forces were killed in terror attacks in 2022 and in Jammu and Kashmir. So violence in Jammu and Kashmir was reduced in 2022 compared to 2019. There is a table which shows the figures. Next slide, please. Next slide, yeah. After 2019, Jammu and Kashmir has changed completely. Since 2021, 26 major development projects have successfully been completed, such as the Rambagh flyover, Khajigund, Banihal tunnel, Ring Road, Jammu Kashmir, Udhampur, Srinagar, Baramulla railway network, Jammu, Srinagar, Ladakh and National Highway, and 4,100 kilometer new roads. The world's highest railway bridge on the Chenab River was successfully built recently. This bridge was more taller than Eiffel Tower in Paris. Next slide, please. 50 new colleges, including the Indian Institute of Technology in Jammu, and was opened two All India Institute of Medical Sciences are also being opened, are being built in Jammu and Kashmir. The tourism has been showing a very good progress. Last year, it received 16.20 million tourists, much bigger than Jammu and Kashmir's population of 13.63 million. So it created thousands of new jobs. Thousands of women were offered financial assistance and vocational training to shine in business. Almost all sectors of Jammu and Kashmir's economy has been showing intense progress during the last 3 years. Next slide, please. The Kashmir issue is a lifeline for Pakistan's military. It gives it money and power. Many Pakistani military generals have become millionaires. In Pakistan eyes, the Kashmir problem must never be resolved to maintain the military's domination within Pakistan. The military dictates the foreign ministry, prime minister and media to follow its strategy for Kashmir. Due to the military's domination and massive defense spending, Pakistan is now on the verge of bankruptcy. The Pakistan people are the prime victims of the Pakistan military and its ISI. The military brutal acts against fellow Muslims in East Pakistan led to separation of the country, which is called Bangladesh now. The military support for terrorism and radicalism has turned the country into one of the most dangerous places on the planet. On January 30, 2023, only just 4 days ago, at least 100 people were killed in a suicide bomb attack on a mosque in Peshawar city. Pakistan is a poor country, and it is the only country in the world that openly supports terror groups. It has become a global hub for terrorism and religious radicalism. The UN organization, OIC, and the international community consider the Kashmir issue a bilateral one between India and Pakistan. It should be resolved through peaceful negotiation. The people of Kashmir have become the victims of Pakistan since 1947. Hopefully, with India's 3 peace, prosperity, progress, and peace program, J&Co will develop rapidly in the future. From 2019, there have been a massive improvement in Jammu and Kashmir. Meanwhile, there is a much discontent and plenty of gross human rights violations in Pakistan-controlled Kashmir. India must liberate these parts of Kashmir from foreign occupation and unite the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you.
Applause from Mr. Feramal Anjaya. Now we are going to the last session of question and answer. Before that, I would like to appreciate Mr. Utpal Kaul. He's still with us since begins around 2 p.m. here in Jakarta. And also thank you very much, Lieutenant General Shokin Chauhan still with us, and also Mr. Aswani Kumar Trunggo, and also Dr. Ahmad Kisai. So we have still with us distinguished speakers from online and also offline here. I would like to request 2 questions. One from Hall of Kasman Singo di Mejo here in Jakarta, in Greater Jakarta basically, and also from online. I would like to ask from online first. Dr. Abu Ali, would you mind to put on the screen, have a question for us? Please, Dr. Abu Ali.
May I talk?
Yes, please go ahead.
May I talk? Brother Asep, Kang Asep, can I talk?
Yes, please continue to ask the question, Pak Abu.
Yes, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, everybody. Because the time is very short, I would like to comment and have 2 questions. My questions I address to all of you. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Why? There are a lot of people, Muslim peoples in Kashmir, passed away because of soldier of India. Pay attention, please. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And then Gandhi, Mr. Gandhi is my role model. He is excellent. He is very smart leader, not only for India, for the world. I got a lot of information about Kashmir by doing research from many countries. I would like to invite you to have international seminar in Jakarta. You should be fair, not only from India, from another countries, for example, from United States, from Holland. My question is, why your leader said in India, Islam is very dangerous. What is the reason Islam is very dangerous? Islam means peaceful, living together in harmony and peace. We are brothers and sisters, like Gandhi said. And then, why could you kill people, Muslim people in Kashmir? That is my question. So United Nations resolution, not only the last speaker talk about that, more than that, be fair, be gentle, and then be example. I love you, all of you. I love India too. I love people. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abu. Basically, he is active in one of the education institution in Jakarta. I would like to request Mr. Aswani Kumar has already raised his hand. Please, Pak Aswani.
Thank you very much for the question. In fact, I expected this question from someone among us, the audience. I would like to convey that in India, Islam is not considered as anything detrimental to the social cohesion of India. For us, Islam is one of the religions, and we have respect for each other's religion, and that is true for Kashmir state as well. Let me inform all of you, put on record, that there are thousands of temples and mosques in Jammu and Kashmir state. And all these mosques and all these temples are exist with all the population, though there are more, say 70% of the people who are Muslims. But 30% non-Muslims have also their places of worship in Jammu and Kashmir state. There are thousands of mosques in Kashmir. And then one thing is very important to note, that because of the Pakistan's interference in Kashmir, particularly through terrorism, 500,000 Kashmiri Pandits, the original residents of the indigenous people of Kashmir, have been hounded out of Kashmir because of terrorism, and they are living as refugees in their own country. But for all practical purposes in India, we are living along with all the religions, and we do not see any kind of difference in the religious beliefs. Somebody may like some kind of religion, or somebody may have belief in another kind of religion. It does not make any difference so far as the citizenry is concerned, so far as the right to life is concerned, so far as the right to education is concerned, and so far as the right to human rights are concerned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Aswani, for a quick response. I would like to invite Mr. Utpal Kaul, have some word on it.
Yes.
Please.
Which is the question? Same.
Yes, please.
You see, I am from Kashmir, and you'll be happy to know that my all teachers, most of them are Muslims, were Muslims, and my friends are Muslims. My business activity is with Muslims. And before 1990, when minority community was also in Kashmir, there are some Sufi shrines where both Muslims and Hindus were going together. And you will be surprised that there are Hindu temples existing now, and some Muslims are taking care of that. But problem is that across the border, some people don't like this togetherness. And I would have, my nephew is not here. I would have brought him here and he would have recited you how he remembers Quranic ayats. And we have been seeing, we have never had this problem. We are living for nearly 1,000 years together, Hindus and Muslims. But there are some elements. They don't want this peace and prosperity. There are politics in it. There are so many situations in it. And I tell you, I just add one thing. India and Pakistan, we talk same language, we eat same, we wear same things. And today Pakistan is in problem. And had been we together, they had no problem. Because India has enough of food for 4 years. They are our brothers. We could have taken care of them. We are brothers. But the problem is there is a very small section of society, and that society doesn't want this peace and prosperity to go together. And I have to add one more thing. Whenever I am in some national or international seminar and topics are like that, I give the example of Indonesia. Indonesia is a path breaker for whole of world. How the societies have to work together, live together, and progress together. And I give you one more point here. In my first seminar here, I said that Kashmir and Indonesia had very good relations 2,000 years back. And one Kashmiri he was a great scholar, he went to Ceylon. And when the Indonesian king came to know, he invited him to come to Indonesia and in Bali and Jakarta and in different places, give lectures. Now the Buddhists are living in Indonesia, Muslims are living in Indonesia, Christians are living, Hindus are living in. And so this is an example how the modern world should exist. And same thing we have in Kashmir. We had it in Kashmir, but what can we say? We have to teach our some lessons to our brothers that be peaceful, we live together, because we cannot change our neighbor. Our neighbor is always there. So with this, I assure you, time will come when there will be peace and prosperity along the Indian subcontinent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. So this is the end of our seminar. Because the time has already passed for 27 past 4 p.m. in Greater Jakarta or Tangerang Selatan here. Again, I would like to thanks to all distinguished speakers, Lieutenant General Itai Shokin Chauhan, Mr. Utpal Kaul, Dr. Sri Yunanto, Mr. Aswani Kumar Churunggo, Dr. Ahmad Kisai, and also Mr. Feramala Anjaya for very patient to be online and to be here with us. And also thank you to audience for your patience and put attention to the international seminar, also on online. I would like to thank to faculty of social political science, particularly undergraduate and postgraduate program in this university, and also for collaboration with Sahabat India Jakarta. Again, thank you very much. We would like to close with say Alhamdulillah for Indonesian here. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Thank you very much. See you in other function, other event under international seminar. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum
Kang Asep.
warahmatullahi
you.
wabarakatuh. Thank you very much. Bye bye. We have a photo session to online
you,
and
namaskar.
offline. Please have a photo session online first maybe, and on being for the time, please join us in the hall to stand up. Some of you in downstairs and the other on upstairs. Ibu, for online, please, Mr. Daman to have instruction. Thank you very much again to all of the audience here, online and offline. Thank you very much.
I love you.
Okay, thank you very much. Online has already taken the picture by our staff. Thank you very much again for your attending the international seminar between Indonesia and India. Please join us. Silakan berdiri di sini. Thank you very much. Yuk kita foto bersama.